welcome, Rami. Thank you for joining us at this My Biggest Blunders platform. So thank you for saying yes.
Thank you. Pleasure. Pleasure.
Congratulations for the book. I mean, I know that it's not a new book, but
Yeah.
I love the cover. So, so let's start from the beginning. Tell us a little bit about where you grew up, how you grew up, your siblings, and all of that.
Okay. First, I was born in Seshego. I'm the second born of 6 kids. So I've got 2 sisters and 3 brothers. And yeah, so it's basically a big family. When you've got 6 kids, it's a big family. Both my parents are still alive.
Yeah.
Yeah, the insurance is not going to pay out anytime soon.
Yeah. Join the queue.
They've been going at it.
Yeah.
They've been going at it. But yeah, I grew up in Seshego. It was quite a very colorful childhood. You know, basic thing. Went to primary school. I'm a PK. You know,
Yeah.
Grew up in church all my life, and people don't know, like, the Bible is like second nature. It's like a 13th language that we speak. But yeah, and after that, then I went to boarding school when I was 10 and 10 going to 11. And then after boarding school, one day I just upped and left and came to Joburg, and I never went back.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I've been officially a Joburger for 30 years now.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, 30 years.
Yeah. Let's
19.
not give away our age.
No, I'm 29, but I've been
with 30 years experience.
I've been in Joburg for 30 years.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, one of the things that I didn't mention, and I think intentionally, you know, when we started this conversation, is normally people lead with, you're an actress, you're a musician, you're an artist, you're a philanthropist, now you're an author, you're a mom, you're a what.
And a grandmother.
And a grandmother. Okay. Now the gray makes sense.
Yes.
Yeah. But so when did you decide? I mean, yes, you came to Joburg. Yeah. Most people come to Joburg to study and all of that.
Yeah.
So when did you then decide, the reason why I'm coming to Joburg is because of the bright lights?
I think I had 2. No, I'm lying. I had 3. There are 3 occasions that made me decide to come to Joburg. Okay, first I knew that I was always going to be in the entertainment industry. I decided when I was about 9 years old. Then when I went to boarding school, my first official trip to Joburg, it was about 100 of us in a bus. We were going to, our school was one of the beneficiaries for something, funding, you know, St. Mark's.
Yes.
There's always some diocese or some sort, some Catholic church bringing money to help us, and then they took us, and I was part of of everything. I was part of the choir. I was just there. Yeah. I'm one of those kids that always made the cut when it came to school trips. And I remember we were driving down the N1 then, the highway. I think we were just approaching Sainton, and it was just early in the evening. And I think we were just minding our business, and all of a sudden something just said, "Look out." And I looked outside. Yeah. And I just saw lights. Lots of lights. Lots. It was the first time I saw so many lights. Yeah. Live jive, like with my own 2 eyes. And I couldn't believe it. I was like, oh my gosh, look how beautiful it is. It's amazing. And I was like, oh, I want to live here. Yeah. I really, really want to live here. And then eventually, and then Joslovo was still Harrow Road. Yes. It was still Harrow Road. Yeah. Then we went down because we were also going to go, we also went to Rodin. There was a Southern Sun thing. No Holy Bees. It was just a lot of lights. Yeah. But, and I remember seeing Harrow Road, thinking, Harrow Road, I mustn't forget that road. Harrow Road. When I come back. Yeah, it was leading to the Alhambra Theatre, where we went, and then we watched Nonsense. And one of the leads eventually became my best friends, eventually much later in the years. And the second time that happened was then I was part of the drama group, and they went, it was 1989, if not 88. And then we went to the Market Theatre, and we did a tour of the market, and then that evening we also came to watch Mongeningema's Township Fever. Half of the cast was doing Sarafina overseas, but there was Township Fever in South Africa because they couldn't necessarily have Sarafina. So they did Township Fever. And I remember I was standing outside the market after seeing all these lights, watching this electrifying performance. We stood outside while we were waiting for our transport to come and fetch us. They were going to fetch the bus. And I remember saying to my friends, there was a lamp post, this theater, Market Theater, and behind it there's Gramadulas, there are other restaurants there. And I was standing there and I said to them, if you give me 10 years, I swear I'm going to come back here.
Sure.
And the next time I come back here, I'm going to be on stage and not be part of the audience. And that's one of the things. Fast forward, one day I was doing a show with Philip Tabani. Malomba was one of the singers. And I was with a very good friend of mine. She was also starting out in the industry. And then after the performance and everything, we were waiting for the car to come around at the market. And as we were standing outside, funny enough, the show was on for 4 days. But it was on the last day of that show that we were standing outside under the very same lamppost. And then I remembered, man, I was standing here. And then I thought back, guess what? It was exactly 10 years later.
Oh my goodness.
I know. Strange, right? Yeah, it was like a proper full circle. So that's when I was like, okay, I think I'm in the right
the
place.
power of intention.
True.
Yeah, even before we knew it.
I have so many of those incidents. I'm just like, okay. Manifesting 3 billion into my life. Because so far so good, eh?
You say it and then
it happens.
To the T. But take me back. So and you spoke about it, when you said three instances when you saw or you're going to be on stage. The first one that you talk about is that you were 9 years old.
Yes.
So tell me about that.
Okay, that one, it was my aunt's wedding, which I thought I was going to be the flower girl.
Okay.
And I ended up not being the flower girl because I didn't have hair. I had 13
hobbies.
Yeah. And they were just like isolated. But anyway, and also I was too dark. There was this whole thing that, when you were black.
Yes, when you're dark skinned.
No, like you're black. You've got dark skin, but then you're black. When you're dark skinned and you are not really as pretty. And then also my hair was brown. I don't understand what was going on there. It was sunburned for some strange reason. But anyway, so I didn't make the cut. I wasn't a flower girl, but I was at the wedding. Shame, and I remember in the Stroya, I was trying to do the step because I practiced the step. And I thought they would notice me. Nobody did. And then they went to take pictures, and I was stuck in the hall because I wasn't part of the bridal party. I didn't go. And I remember 1984, Burnout, Sipho Sticks Music had just come out. It was the hottest song ever. And the DJ kept playing it on repeat. And eventually this guy just came out of nowhere, apparently like Dickies, sporty,
Lepanzola.
Got on stage and he started dancing. And I was like, oh my God, okay, he dances very well. But I think he was just looking at me. I mean, everyone was there. He was looking at me. I think he could see that, okay, I also want to dance, but
watch out.
Then he pulls me up while they were like, he pulls me onto the stage and I danced. And people lost their minds. Then they started throwing money at me. I was like,
this is how we do it.
You know when 5 rand was the purple 5 rand? I had 5 rand, I had those big 50 cents, big 1 rand.
The 2 rand,
People threw money at me. And it was during at that interval I realized, okay, so had I been a flower girl, no one was gonna pay me to be a flower girl. But now I danced and people threw money at me.
Mm.
So maybe if I danced some more, I can just make more money.
Yeah.
And that's when I was like, that's it. I know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna get into the entertainment industry.
Sure.
That's when I knew that, okay, I'm born for stage and that's it.
Yeah.
It was that burnout moment.
See,
yeah, that at that wedding. And funny enough, the wedding video, when everyone was out taking pictures, for some strange reason, one of the video guys had stayed and they took the footage of that. And my aunt's wedding video, that is the biggest highlight, and it was not even part of the wedding.
Yeah.
There was a fast forward, and they take it back. When I finish, rewind and let's see her again. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
I know who's the star of this show.
Yeah.
That was my wedding, basically.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I can make money. Let me go.
You can make money. Okay, I mean, so fast forward a couple of decades later, you're in the City of Gold.
Yeah.
You're making money.
Yeah.
In the entertainment industry, everybody's seeing you, loving you, noticing you.
Yeah.
What are some of the decisions that you, when you look at them now, you then go, "Ooh, never to do that again."
There's so many. Where do you want to start?
Yeah. I mean, some of the ones that are just glaringly way like, if you are a new person coming into the entertainment industry, these are some of the decisions you're going to have to make. Don't do it.
I think being very decisive is one of the things, like being also, I think one of the biggest lessons I had to learn was to actually say no, because, then you end up selling yourself short.
Yeah.
Because everyone thinks that, I don't believe in this whole thing that you have to pay your dues. Yes, you have to pay your dues in the entertainment industry, but you don't need to get underpaid so that you can accumulate the so-called dues.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
You don't have to undercut yourself. You don't have to undersell yourself. And you don't have to suffer in the long run just trying to get noticed. And I think that's, in terms of the entertainment industry, that's that. And also, reading your contract. I read each and every contract like it's new.
Yeah.
I know all what is the
clauses,
The clauses, I know them. But every time I get my contract, I read it over and over and over again. But in terms of the entertainment industry, I think some of one of the things that I know that I will never do is, I knew I would never do, was to be an extra.
Most people started there.
No, I said no immediately. What happened was that there was a show, there was a casting, they like, come. And I had normal afro. What I did not know was that if you get cast with this hair, you can now come tomorrow with
braids,
other braids,
or a weave. You
can't, because they wanted to see you like this. So they told me, okay, we're gonna shoot. I was like, fantastic. You know what? Let me go do my hair. I went, set up the whole night in Grace Street in town, on top of a crate. They said, no, don't worry, we'll do it quickly. No, I got home at like 10:30 in the evening because I had to do my hair. Then I had to wake up at 5 a.m. to get to this casting. And we shot the whole day. And I could see, they were busy overlooking us, sitting there, and people are busy acting. And I eventually asked, wait, I know we're here. Where are my lines? When do we start? They're like, oh no, but you're an extra. I was like, excuse me. So I did my hair. Okay, first they were furious that I did my hair. They're like, which one are you? I'm like, I was here yesterday. They're like, did you not have an afro? I'm like, yeah. Then why did you do your hair? Well, because I'm going to be on TV. Hello. Why would I want to be on TV with an afro? That is disorganized. No, I had wanted to look good. Anyway, the DOP is like, okay, fine. The 80s, like, fine, just fit her in. Get the next thing, I don't have lines. So we shoot 12 hours. That's another thing I didn't know, that we shoot 12 hours. And they say, okay, guys, please come back tomorrow in your same clothes. Don't change your hair. We're going to continue because the scenes were not done. And I was like, wait, coming back here? No, I'm not coming back. They're like, what do you mean? I'm like, to come back and say nothing again? No, I'm not coming back. They were losing their mind. The director came, he was telling me, you're never going to be anything, you're not going to amount to anything. I said, listen here, if it means I'm going to be doing this again tomorrow, I'm not coming. And I didn't go. And I don't think they paid me. Did they? I don't remember. I think they did. Oh no, they actually did. They did pay me, but
The extra salary.
the extra salary.
Yeah.
They paid me, and I actually didn't care. I think just like 80 rand, whatever.
Yeah, it
I
was
was like-
it was less than the amount you paid to get your hair done.
I mean, hello, the
Yeah.
inconvenience at my time. So yeah, I was just like, I will never do that again. And thank God I never did. That was my only extra job that I
Yeah.
ever did.
Wow. I mean, yeah, because I think, there's a lot of mistakes that, especially in the entertainment industry,
Yeah.
we meet a lot of people who think that you can come in, you can crack it, you must do everything.
Yeah.
Everything is admissible, allowable,
Yeah.
just for you to make it.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I think for me the biggest question is so what is that big thing?
I think the big thing in the entertainment industry, it's money. It's money. Knowing that just because you're getting paid for the next 12 months, it doesn't mean you're gonna get paid for another 12 months.
Yeah.
And because now all of a sudden you're making this money and you think you can buy stuff, and it's good. All of a sudden you've worked hard, you deserve this, you want better schools for your kids, you want to live in a better place, you want to do all of that. Big mistake, very big, huge. In fact, one of the lessons that I learned from one of my friends, she was also on backstage, and I think she said it once, but she doesn't know that it has been my policy, and it's stuck.
Yeah.
And every time I get an opportunity to talk about it, I talk about it. So Grace said one day we're sitting in the green room saying, "Hey, this industry, guys, is tough," because she started back in the day.
Yeah.
And she had seen it. She had seen it all, up and down. And she started saying there was a point where she started having to save money. So if you're in the entertainment industry, you should try to at least have 6 months worth of your salary ahead of you.
Yeah.
So that even at times when you're not working, you're not now pulling your hair out because you don't know how you're gonna pay your next
installments.
bill. Yes. And for me, that was actually one of the biggest blunders. For me, that was like my biggest blunder because everything was going well. I've never stopped working, even until now. I've never really stopped working. I do a lot of things. I multitask and all of that. But bad financial planning, big one. Just wanting to live that life that people think we live.
The TV life.
The TV life.
Yeah.
I don't know, please.
Yeah.
We don't live the TV life,
Yeah.
but you fall into the trap of trying to live the TV life. I've never been big on the TV life, but I think one of the biggest blunders that I made when I was married was that. Also, shame, man. My poor ex-husband was also from a very, very poor family. So he wanted everything. He wanted everything, and next thing, guess what? We're in so much debt.
Yeah.
We're in so much debt. We're like practically broke, bankrupt, and just drained from just poverty. And having to sell so many things, having to let go of so many things, having our house repossessed, my car repossessed, and having to start from the beginning. And not once but twice.
So tell me, just there, so and I've got it's the same question, but it's twice because it's happening twice. Yeah.
Yes.
So tell me, now you're losing everything, they're repossessing stuff. How are you feeling as you're going through that?
Obviously disappointed and very frustrated. Thankfully, I'm such a positive person. Like, it doesn't matter, throw me anyway, I'll still go like, at least we are breathing, ne? That would be.
We are together.
Yeah, we are breathing, we are together.
Yeah.
But then obviously it also came. It took such a big toll on both of us, and also because we didn't see a lot of things eye to eye. I also feel like someone, you need to be accountable, be responsible, and also be responsive in a way that it will get you out of the rut that
situation.
you're in.
Yeah.
That situation.
Yeah.
So it happened twice. It happened twice. The first time it was like, it was like a slapnyana.
Yeah.
The debt wasn't that big. We managed to get out of it. In fact, it's like one of those miracle stories. Our house was being auctioned off on a Monday, right? And to cut a long story short, we managed to sell it on the Friday.
Oh, wow.
The Friday before the Monday.
For the auctioners don't come.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we sold it at a profit, took that money, paid off all our debts.
Yeah.
Because at that time we were staying in Orchards in Pretoria. And we decided, you know what, fine, this is it.
Yeah.
So let's do a brand new start. Let's move to Joburg. Then we moved to Joburg. And things were going well. The work was happening and all of that. You know, money started coming.
Yeah.
You know, spending some of it, putting a bit, like
a little bit.
Spending it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It a bit, which is supposed to actually be the other way. And next thing we moved to a bigger house, 6 bed, 5 bathrooms, 2 lounges, pool.
Yeah.
The yard is big. You can throw a big wedding and people will be nicely
accommodated.
Yeah. And listen, 3 years later, it was back to square one on a huge,
on a bigger scale. Yeah.
And this time there was no one coming to buy the house the Friday before the Monday.
Yeah.
No, the Monday came and the house was gone.
And the house was gone.
And the debt was big, like millions.
Yeah.
Millions of debts,
like
of money,
That restart is a proper restart.
Yeah, that was a proper restart. Having to walk again. Thankfully, you know me, I'm such a never mind.
Yeah.
I wasn't bothered. I was catching a taxi again, and I wasn't embarrassed at all. And I think it's when you don't wear your shame that people don't know what to shame you with. In fact, everyone will be like, oh my God, in the taxi, I'll walk in, I'll get into a taxi. People are like, oh, I can't believe you're in a taxi with us. This is so nice.
Yeah, let's take a selfie.
Yes, I'm going to tell you my friends, I saw you.
Yeah.
But nobody was like, girl, we saw you on TV until you don't have a car. And, you know, thank God I never had those kind of moments. But, you know, life went on. Then eventually we got divorced and had to start from the beginning, paying as much as I can, paying the money back, starting to save up again, and here we are.
And here we are.
Back up and running again.
Back up and running, and now you're an author.
Yes.
You know, there's a TV character I think it's Maya, her name on Friends, and she writes a book on the show, and she's like, I'm an authoress.
Yes, I'm an authoress.
So you're an author. You've written this book. I love reading it.
Yeah.
So tell me. So we've gone through a phase, especially in the country, where a lot of people are writing books.
Yeah.
I mean, you wrote your book 10 years ago?
Yes.
Yeah. So you know, it was before the wave.
Yes.
Of people writing the book, but you self-published.
Yes.
So tell me a little bit about that journey. How, you know, is it as easy as we think it is?
No, but it is easier than being published by a big company.
Yeah.
And I will tell you what.
Yeah.
In my broke
state.
Yeah. I ended up having to learn a lot. I swear you'd think I was studying for my MBA in business or some sort. Because I was like, okay, what are the issues? Where are the holes? Where are the little things that I needed to cover? And I did my research and I found that, you know, sometimes funding stuff out of your pocket is more profitable and more rewarding than getting funding from somewhere else. Yeah. Some things you can get funding from somewhere else, but it's better when it came to, I mean, I did my music album. I did that out of my own pocket as well, self-published, so I own my masters and I can do whatever I want with the music. Then there came the book as well. I decided to self-publish, and I'll tell you why. The breakdown, both music and, okay, let's start with the music quickly. The music is that if you are signed to a big company, sometimes they give you a signing fee.
Yes.
That signing fee is not just to welcome you, it's actually an advance when you read your contract.
Yeah.
It's an advance, and they can give you 500,000. But until that 500,000 is paid back, you don't make money. It doesn't matter how many albums you sell.
Yeah.
Because you're gonna start paying back the money.
Yeah.
Then they give you a huge team to work with you. You've got a PA, you've got an EA, you've got a stylist, you've got a PR and marketing.
Yeah.
Then there's the recording label itself. Then there are producers. There's a band that you work with. There is an artistic director. There is then the distributor.
Yeah.
And all of that. And everyone, when they've taken everything that cuts, you should be lucky. You'll be lucky if you walk away with 7% of what you're making. So if an album sells 100 Rand, from that 100 Rand you make 7
You're
Rand.
making 7 Rand.
Yes.
Sure.
But if you put your own money, you are self-published. With my album, yes, I produced, I did most of the stuff and all of that. And when I sell my album, I still managed to make 60 Rand of the 100 Rand.
Yeah.
Because the 40 Rand went into all the other
all
stuff.
the other things.
But all the other things that still belong to me, you know. And even with the book, one of the biggest, everyone wants their book in this
big bookstores.
Bookstore. But first of all, that bookstore takes 45%. Just for your book to be there.
Wow.
So if your book is selling at 200 Rand, that means already 90 Rand belongs to them, right? You still have to pay your publisher, okay? And there are a lot of fees that come with that.
Yeah.
So instead of walking away with 150 Rand from the 200, you might just walk away with 40 Rand.
Yeah.
Of the 200.
Yeah.
So it is easier. It is more glamorous. It's nice when they say bestseller, they put your book there. It's bestseller, but that selling, it is not coming into your pocket. It goes to everyone else
who
worked on the project. So my thing, read as much as you can. As much as we hate reading, I used to not like reading, especially this stuff, like the business stuff, but it taught me a lot. And that's how I managed to get myself out of the financial rut that I was in. And I realized, okay, I need to save money. I need to do this. I need to do this. I need to do this. I need to do that. And it's very funny that people are like, oh yeah, I called your office. I sent an email to your office. And I'm like,
I'm my office.
I'm my office. When people send a mail to info ads, I'm the one who says, okay, also Rami is not available for this and day, blah, 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 blah. When they send to bookings, okay, we will get back to you with a quote and all of that. And they're like, can you please tell us? Yes, we will relay the message to us. I do that.
You are your team.
I am my team.
Yeah.
I am my team. It's only now that I have someone on board who's like helping me, but only now, literally only now. But all these years, stationary, tea lady, coffee lady, whatever you want to call it,
marketing,
marketing, everything. Yeah. And you talk about yourself as we, and I sign off as we. Yeah. Rami Chuene team. And it's just me. Love it for myself.
But what did you learn though? Because I mean, I'm just thinking. Yes, you studied a lot to try and interest, because you were using a route that wasn't the norm.
Yes.
So you obviously need to arm yourself around what the journey will look like. So now in retrospect, if I then said to you, I'm in a process of writing a book. What what advice would you give to me?
Well, firstly, write the book. And how do you start writing the book? You start writing, because I think a lot of us, I mean, now I have a writer's block for my second book. Also because I'm thinking, is it going to match the level of the first book? There's that thing, oh my God, follow up. But, and it's completely different from what I've written. But you must start writing. Firstly, you need to start writing. Tell your stories as authentic as possible. If you don't believe in what you're saying, no one is going to believe you. Even if it's fiction, even if it's a fantasy, you have to sell into that fantasy. You have to buy into it and go like, oh yes, then he flew in his private jet. And as she came, her hair was flying from the... You must believe that story. If you don't believe the story that you're telling, no one is going to believe that, because people can read between the lines. They can see the doubt in your story as you tell it. You know, that is in terms of creatively. And everywhere you go, have a notebook, put stuff on your phone. That is the writing bit of it, and focus on what it is that you want to write about. And in terms of the business sense, if you believe in the story that you're telling, then it means that your pocket will follow in the belief of the stories that you're telling. If you don't feel like you could invest your own money in it, then why would you expect someone else to invest their money in it? You know? And also, nothing is an overnight success. And everyone's like, no, a lot of people are coming into the industry. Those are two different things, and I like to separate them. There are people who, lack of a better phrase, who pay their dues. They've been like working behind the scenes, or theater, rehearsing, and all of that. Industry, and it took them 5 years to break into the industry, right? That's even better. You'd rather do it like that than the other way. Because when you're an overnight success, you hit the fame, right? So I start here and hit the fame. You hit the fame. You still need to go back and start there and come back to match the fame. So the responsibility is bigger. It is greater. The accountability is the expectations are even higher. So you still need to go back and go, okay, fine. What do I learn from this? What do I learn from that? So it's quite difficult that, oh yeah, this one, after 2 weeks, she only wrote one song, and after 2 weeks it was a hit. Suddenly, it was suddenly. So not everything is really suddenly like that. So a lot of artists, they still need to go back and go like, okay, fine. Now that we see how it looks like where we're supposed to be, let's go back and you know, just
pay
kind
the
of
school
reaffirm the foundations and so that you can stay, because it's not just about hitting the big time, it's also the sustainability. Someone like, oh, you've been in the industry for so many years. Yes. Every day I remind myself, what is it, something new that I'm gonna do that will still keep me where I'm sitting? You don't just realize, so do you know who I am?
Do you know who I am?
You don't do that.
Yeah, so you know, I think this is one of the myths, especially about people in the entertainment industry, is that we don't take, and maybe it's just me, we don't take people that are in the entertainment industry as business people. You know, even though the fact that you are writing and publishing a book, it's a business. You are singing, compiling music, it's a business. You are speaking, you are doing appearances, you are acting, you are in theater. All of that is actually a business. You know? So, I mean, one of the questions that I love asking, and I know that there isn't really an right answer for it, is how do you blunder-proof your life? What are some of the things, that you're doing that, you know, to try and say, let's not make the same mistakes again?
In fact, that is actually the right word to use. How are you blunder-proofing? I'm going to start using that. I like it. How do you blunder-proof your life? Okay, and you're correct by saying a lot of people, they don't take us as serious business people. And one of the first things to blunder-proof your life is, I have to now start by taking myself serious first. Okay? If I don't treat myself as a business entity, then it's going to be a problem for someone else to treat me as such. So, which is why you need to show up on time. You need to keep to your deadlines. You need to keep to your word. You need to be a person of integrity. You must mean what you say and say what you mean. You must deliver all your promises that you're supposed to deliver. You must be a good and a steadfast service provider. Whatever that you've committed yourself to, you need to commit to it and execute accordingly. Do you understand? So even if I have to be at work at a particular time, sometimes the days where I go to work late, also on purpose. It's because I never eat at work. I don't have the breakfast at work. Like, where are you? I don't eat breakfast. I'm coming. You know. But you need to always show up. You always need to show up for yourself as a business entity. And I was actually talking to someone the other day. I was saying, the problem with the entertainment industry is that from the beginning, it has always been treated as an extramural activity, which is why we have the Department of Health, but we've got the Department of Arts, Culture, Sports. They just threw everything in. They're like, those are makina all over. We don't know what to do with them. Where do we throw them? Let's just put them all in one pot. In fact, we're not supposed to be. There must be the Department of Sports, Departments of Arts, Department of Culture, all of that. It must be separated. But also, everyone else doesn't know how to do this whole entertainment,
how to manage it,
so-called extramural activities, which is why someone said, so what do you do for a living? I'm an actor. Oh, okay. And then but what's your other job? And you're like,
but really, what do you do?
Really, what else do you do? No. That's what I do. I'm an actor. So when you take yourself seriously and start treating yourself as a business, everyone else doesn't have a choice but to follow and be like, okay, fine. We committed to, we set this date and that date, and when you don't call and confirm, then to me you didn't confirm. If I say to you to book me, your confirmation is going to be your 50% deposit, and you don't pay it, guess what? You're not booked for that day. I'm gonna go to the next bidder, the next possible date that is coming. That's the one I'm gonna take. The one, like, when you don't do that, then that's how you actually blunder-proof your life. Take yourself seriously, show up, be on time, be a person of integrity, be reliable. Be reliable. This thing of saying someone is performing, and you can see on social media that they advertised Rami in Cape Town in the afternoon, but also in Durban in the same afternoon, but then back in Joburg. But then you can see that morning, I made a wedding in Limpopo in the morning. And you ask yourself, wait, how are you going to do these three events all at the same time? And that becomes a problem. That also compromises your work ethic. Your work ethic must speak for
your reputation.
And your reputation completely. So I think that's how you blunder-proof your life. There are a lot of people that are not as talented, that are not as great, that are not as famous, or that are not as popular, but because of their work ethic, people will always go back to them for business instead of choosing the it girl or the it guy of that, because they know that this one, people might want to see them, but chances of him showing up are close to zero. So you know what? Chef, let's take this one. Maybe he can go tiki and not mix properly. But you know what? He's gonna be there on time and he's gonna show up. So people would want to work with people that are not going to let them down than try to believe the hype. So people also get high on their own supply. And then they forget to deliver. And that is why, like, oh, he used to be so big. She used to be so big. Remember the time off. And it's nice when when there's no. Remember the time you're Rami? It's always Rami's time. And I will make sure it's always my time. Whether it's 1999, 2009, 2023, I will always show up. And I don't want to be like there used to be an air. Remember back in the day, honey, we don't do back in the day. We are still in the day. Still in the day. And if people can do that, then it's easy to work with them. It's easy, And don't be difficult. We can all be divas, man. Please, come on. So there's no need.
Okay, so you spoke about, and I know that I said I'm not going to pick up your book, but I love the cover.
And there you have it.
And there I have it. I love the cover. I think, on the cover you look a little bit like your mom, a little bit,
like my daughter as well.
I love the, it could be anybody at a different age. So you then said something about the fact that you're busy writing, even though you're suffering writer's block, you're busy writing your second book.
The English finishes it. English. It puts a comma and leaves and says, I'll see you later.
Come back in 2 months. So now that you're self-published and your own team, and I think this is my last question. Where do people get the book? But also, who is it written for?
Okay, We Kiss the Sun and Embrace the Moon is actually written for myself. I don't know. Can I say something like that? Because it's a memoir. It's short stories, 30 short stories about me. Basically how I grew up, some of the funny experiences, some of the serious ones, some I touch church, I touch growing up in primary, boarding, I talk about the relationships. I talk about every single thing that you can think of under the sun, but in a very short format that it's easy for someone to just quickly read.
Digestible
and then
chunks.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I also wrote it the way I speak, because there's no need for me, if I can say maybe, there's no need for me to say perhaps. Allegedly. Because I was like, people know how I speak. And I love it when people read my book and they're like, we read it in your voice.
Yeah.
Also because people know the sound of my voice, and I'm also a voiceover artist. And so they read it, and the way it's written, it's like I recorded it first, then typed it. But I actually typed it, then recorded it later. And then it's still, okay, I didn't release the audio book yet. But people got the book from Facebook. Firstly on social media, and the first edition of the book, when I did the launch, going back to business, when I did the launch for the book, I didn't have money to pay for the printing
of the book. Okay.
Yes. So what I did, I got the cover. I started giving short snippets of the book. I'll write a short story, and people were like, why are you not writing anything today? And everyone will start asking, is this a book? Is this a book? What? Like, okay, I hope this is a book, and all of that. I was like, okay, fine. I can see they're warming to it. They're warming up to it. Then I started writing, and then I got a quotation for the printing. The editing did all of that. Then the printing, it was a lot of money, and I didn't have it at the time. You know what I did? I told people the book is coming out. We're having the launch in September. Pre-book. You can pre-order your book. And people started pre-ordering, and they sent money. And that's the money I used to actually print the book. And then what I did, the people that pre-ordered the book are the people that I invited to the launch, so that after the launch, then they could take their book and go, And I had personalized the written messages. I hope this book makes you happy, whatever, and we wrapped it nicely with everyone's name, with a seal,
I
with
remember
the seal. And I still do that even now. Even now, everyone's like, are you gonna do the book with the seal again? I'm like, of course, that's how we do it. And so I was like, but don't cover your smile. I'm like, no, but then you still get to unwrap it nicely and all of that. And that's how I paid for the first print, and it just started paying itself like that. It started paying itself like that. And that's how we even got here to the second thing as well. I was like, okay, the book is coming out. Pre-orders. And then I went to a lot of my friends and said, okay, fine, I know you support this and such a school. Please, because this book can be read by grade 9, 10, 11, 12. It's such an easy read, and it's so relatable. And even though it's about back in the day, they would kind of know, and it would make sense to them what, it might have been 30 years ago, but it makes sense to them. So got friends say, okay, you went to a particular high school, buy 20 copies for your school, for your library, your school library. And that's how then people started paying into the book. So the book is just paying for itself as it goes. So it's not sitting there, and guess who's making the money?
You are making the money.
Exactly, because I'm not paying. And when they want, oh, by the way, this interview is getting too long. Going back to business again. So now I wanted to, people are not buying the book of Facebook, and other people are obviously unreachable, and they say, but we've got this big bookstore in my town. Why are you not
in the
doing
bookstore?
this? In the bookstore. And I was like, okay, fine. I know some of the books can go there. They can keep 45. I'll take 55 because there was still no middleman. All right. So, and how we got the book into the big bookstore, I got a lot of my friends, because I've got so many people who support me and family, friends. You know me, I'm such a people's person. They would every single day call. call different stores, different departments of the bookstore, and say, "Do you have this book?
Yeah.
Do you have this book?
Yeah.
No, we don't. No, ma'am. How
Yeah.
do you not have this book?
Yeah.
Don't you know this book?"
Yeah.
Eventually, the big
bookstore,
store called me and said, "Hi, ma'am," or email, "Hello, info at.
Yes.
We would like to purchase a couple of books." I said, "Oh, I will speak to Miss Rami." I will But that's how we actually, so because the book was there, and I told people it's at this airport
place.
I strategically chose airports because I know people get bored at the airport and then next thing. And then next thing Rosebank called, then Nicole Way called, and sent. I was like, okay, Hyde Park called. No, we're moving.
Yeah.
We're moving. I can, Menling called, everyone, they're like, we just need 10 copies. Next thing, oh, the 10 copies are gone. Do you have another 10 copies?
Yeah.
Then there was another one, and then I would go do some signings, and it wasn't even like a big deal, but the book was moving even with that, and that's how I got people to get it into the big
stores. Yeah, so you need to be street smart.
Yeah, because when you approach them, you come across like you need them more than they need you.
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden we turned it around. They were the one who was like, I think we need a copy. We need a few copies of your book. I was like, really? Oh, absolutely.
Yes.
That is so nice. I'll send. How many copies would you like? And I was driving around, going to OR Tango, flying.
Being your own delivery guy.
Be my own delivery guy. Do not worry, I'll do an overnight what.
Yeah.
And that's how it went.
Yeah. So no, thank you, Rami. I mean, like you said, this interview is getting too long. Thank you so much for coming through for this interview.
Absolutely.
And just for being vulnerable. Some of the things that you're sharing, even just in life, it's the stuff that a lot of people in your position, they don't want people to know about. So, I want to take this opportunity to say thank you, not just for coming, but for bringing all of yourself into the interview. Sure. And I wish you all of the best with this book, that it would be sold out everywhere, and that you would get unblocked, so that by the time December comes, some of us must take the second book on holiday with us.
Oh, that would be so cool, right? Then maybe this book can pay for that book. Yeah, that's what will happen. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.